Hey everybody, welcome back to Eat and Talk. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Yusra and I am super excited to be doing another episode with you guys today. I am incredibly excited specifically for this episode because I have a very special guest, Fatoun. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys, she is one of the most phenomenal women I have ever met. I am really excited for you to get to know her in this episode, and we have so much to talk about. She is a woman of many gifts and talents, and she brings so much value to our community. And I have always been looking for someone like her on this platform to really talk about just in general woman empowerment and leadership and resilience. She brings all of that. So thank you. That was a long introduction.
That was a long
I am
introduction.
going to let you tell our viewers more about yourself and thank you again for coming.
MashaAllah. Thank you, Hayati. Markii ugu horeysay, the first time I came to the US, it was San Diego, California, 1998. And I was there for 7 years. I started my education over there. Carruurtayda waaweyn intaasaan kusoo dhalay San Diego. And then I came to Minneapolis in 2006. Since then, I've been living here. Marka, I started going to school. I got my associate degree in MCTC and got married again. And I have my younger two here in Minneapolis. Now I have 4 kids.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So 2 boys, 2 girls.
2 boys, 2 girls.
That's amazing.
My kings and queens.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. And how did you find transitioning from San Diego to Minnesota? I mean, I know that time was different, but I'm sure there was a huge different atmosphere.
Very true. I wasn't even paying attention to that atmosphere or the people. I moved to Minneapolis because domestic abuse, you know. Marka Minnesota soo guurayay, xanuunsanayay. I was very sick because, you know, ciyarkayga abood ayaa mataqaanaa intaa madaxa iga dilay sida maska. So markii aan alxamdulillah, it wasn't my time inaan tago. And markaan soo miirsaday, it was a wake-up call for me. Waxaan dhahay, you know, haddii aan sii joogo, he promised to kill me and put me 6 feet under. So that was a wake-up call. Waxaan dhahay, and my older two, 2 carruur ka waaweynaa baa jiray oo iga dhintay. Asaqir bay ku way yarayeen. So labadaas markay iga dhinteen, and then alxamdulillah 2 kale caafimaad qaba Ilaahay i siiyay. It was hard for me in ayaga adduunka ka tago oo qof bini'aadan gacantiisa aan ku dhinto. Markaasaan go'aan ku gaaray inaan uga tago meesha joogo so I can live and survive and take care of my kids. That is the reason I'm Minnesota yimiday, because waxaan ogaa community badan inaan leenahay.
And so thank you for sharing that, by the way, because not everybody has the resilience and bravery like you to be open about that. And we'll get more into that within our community. But so when you moved here, how did you, you know, before you got married again, adapt to being a single mother and start all over?
You know, my mind wuxuu ahaa live for your kids, survive for your kids, and get education for your kids. Marka Minnesota yimiday, it was hard for me to get a job because of education. I had no education, prior education. I only learned English in San Diego. And the kind of job I was doing in San Diego, I wasn't able to get it here in Minnesota because you have to have a degree. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So somehow, walking around in the Somali Mall, I saw something on the wall says hiring PCA. So that's the number I called, and they interviewed me, and they give me an office job to work at their office. So I was doing PCA. Alhamdulillah, the county and the state is very generous. child care apply gareeyay low income housing apply gareeyay markaan Minneapolis imanayay the only thing aan haystay intaanan iman waxay ahayd dahab so dahab badana inta shaqaysanay urursanay Soomaali dumarka oo dhan ay sameeyaan then markii aan ka imid San Diego dahabkaasan rahmi hoping that inaan soo ceshado but ma soo ceshan way iga laga qaatay but 10 kun saved my life aan guri ku kreystay gaari ku kreystay maxay ahayd carruurtaydu waxay u baahan yihiin ku soo gatay maxay ahayd deposit iyo rentigii couple of months aan ku bixiyay markaas ka bacdi ayaan shaqo raadsadan helay.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, and I'm happy for you. I want to talk a little bit about DV, domestic violence in our community. One, I want to ask you how you are able to talk about it so freely when a lot of people, a lot of women in our community, growing up in our community, coming from where we're from in East Africa, it's such a taboo topic. And how you were able to not let that detriment to your life and bring you down, and you were able to move on. We'll start with that question.
Domestic abuse wallahi waa real wuu jiraa waana la qariyaa qofun baana ku taga amase qofun baa ma arkin oo ku baabaa. And for me it was communitygeena always family ma rabaan in la dumiyo and family in la dumiyo ma fiicna laakiin familygu markuu mentally ill yahay aan se loo aqoonin. And I'm not making any excuses but ninka marka iqabay he was mentally ill idna ma ogeyn anigu man ogeyn depression wuxuu yahayna lama aqoonin marka Minnesota yimid a few years later ayaan ogaaday actionkiisi iyo ficilkiisi iyo daweyn uu qaadan jirayba inay depression haayeen. At that time na waan yaraa midadamoon yaraa oo ninka laygu daray familyga igu dareen ma la rabin in family la dumiyo aniguna ma rabin inaan ninka ka tago sababtoo ah aabala-aanaan koray so ciyaalkaygana ma rabin aabala-aan inay koraan bad markay timiday seriousness oo two reasons ah. One, he promised inaa haddaan divorce weydiisto inuu idilo markii ay noqotay to a point that aanan la noolaan karin isaga dhuutu wuxuu sameeyey waxyaalahu sameeyey ciyaal yaro walaalahaya oo maaragtay farxumeeyey mid ahaynoo laba ahayn oo gabadha walaashaya mar dhaweyd xitaa laga wareysanayay TV-ga xogmaal. It was heartbreaking. I couldn't live with him anymore. Markaan dhahay nin gabdhihii yaraa farxumeynaya this is not normal. And dhahay warqadeedaan rabaana wuxuu dhahay promise me if you ask me that again I will put you 6 feet under. And I said I can't live with him. I can't. It's not halal. It's not can't live this marriage. Then wuxuu intii sida maska intuu qabto sida maska madaxayga qaraacay daqayladeydii dariska igu soo yaacay darisku markay igu soo yaaceen maxay ahaydeen dhakhtarka layla ortay isaguna u baxsaday dan waxaa laygu dhahay waa wiil Soomaali ah ciyaalkaaga aabahood waa ninkaagii ha u sheegin dhakhtarka hospitaalka madaxa duuduub madaxayga siduu ii qaraacay meel kastoo buus the only one ay halkaas ku taala ay qaraxday iyadana siduu dhiigu iga da'ayay waan suuxay 7 qodob baa lay tolay. Subhanallah. I remember gabadha dhakhtarkii geysay waxay igu tiri waxa ku tiraahdaa masqushaan ku dhacay ku dheh waan ku bareeyaa ma rabno in ciyaalka la xiro in isaga la xiro isaga ciyaalkaaga aabahood waaye ha xidhin. Marka waxaa ogaaday in ragga loo heeliyo ragga loo heeliyaa guurkana waa loo heeliyaa guurku hadduuna safe ahayn ilaahay baa soo daayay in la kala tago ilaahay baa soo daayay furitaanka ma fahanti marka wayna dumarka la sif gareeyo markaasaan ogaaday wadaadadii dariskii ehelkii tolkii waxay rabeen inay marriage-ka regardless of what he did inay sif gareeyaan but waan diiday I have to live for my 2 kids gabadhayda iyo wiilkaygaba yeah.
Did you ever receive justice?
No, not from anybody. I was silent for many years. I was in shock. I was numb. I don't know how to describe that pain. But I knew one day, and the reasons I do many things is to make change. To make change.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But I'm a mother, and I have to provide for my kids, and I have to work. And on top of that, going to school and educating myself so I can get justice and help and save women, young and old and in between.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's crazy. You've told me this story before, but it's very emotional, every time. Yeah, it's just, it's deep. But alhamdulillah, you're alive.
Yep.
You made it out. Your kids survived with you.
Yep.
And you were able to find your voice.
I have to.
Yeah.
I have no choice.
Yeah.
I have girls to raise.
Yeah.
I have boys to raise. I want to teach them what's right from wrong.
Yeah.
I want to educate them. I want to teach them domestic violence is not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. So many women go through it, not just in Somalia, but here too. How can we educate and empower both young women, old women, and also people, men, to advocate and fight for us when it comes to this?
And education is it all starts with education. waxbarasho gabdhihiin wax bartaan, whether they're back home or here. Not only education is knowing who you are. You have to value yourself. adduunkan ilaahay baa ku keenay, adduunkan ilaahay baa kaa qaadaya.
It's true.
qof bila aadana oo ku handadaya, gabdho badanaa la handadaa haddaanan physically la dilin, mentally la abuse gareeya oon ogahay oo daily la shaqeeyo. Marka that's the reason aanu qorayo bugaagta.
Yes, that's a good segue. Tell me about these books.
Yes, those books, the first one inshallah soon soo baxaya,
Inshallah.
and that's all about empowering women, uplifting women, and it will talk about domestic violence and how I escaped and what I did to escape and how I prepared myself to leave without telling anybody. Or just to go back for 3 years, nobody knew where I was because I had to be safe and stable and mentally okay. And I went through a lot of counseling and therapists and try to find who I was.
Yeah. And sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but you mentioned a very valid piece of information: therapy and counseling. Did that work?
Oh yeah, definitely it did work.
Okay.
It worked because markaan Minnesota yimid, I was in a dark place. I was sick. Physically, I was sick because I was beat up. Mentally, I was devastated. Emotionally, I was destroyed and had 2 kids to live for. So when I went to the doctor, she asked me, you're going through a lot of issues. Do you want me to give you medication because you are depressed? Do you want medication or do you want to go counseling? And I said, I don't want to numb my pain. I want to talk about my pain. You know? A lot of people numb it.
Yeah.
I refuse to numb that. It's like, no, I want to talk about it. And I've been going to therapists for about over 10, 15 years. You know, if it's not one thing, it's for another. And especially the work I do, I see, there's nothing I haven't seen. I've seen it all.
Yeah.
marka hooyo aragis dhibaataysan gabadh la xumeeyay ciyaal la xumeeyay ilmihiino banaanka daadsan maxay haydeen guriga dad laga saarayo, you name it, I've seen it all. It drains you. It drains you. Marka waxaan go'aan ku gaadhay to heal from inside out, mentally and physically. And therapists help me a lot. Not only therapists or counselors, I have mentors, I have coaches, I have friends that uplift me and empower me and encourage me. And, my kids, they're my best friends. Yeah. You've seen it.
I've seen them. And she has amazing, outstanding, beautiful children, mashallah. And it's interesting because the dynamic you grew up on, you didn't grow up in a regular family household, mom and dad, cookies and cream. How did you take your trauma from your childhood and pour the love back into your children today?
I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I was craving for it. I was mourning for it. And I remember the first time I went to the counselor, she said, listening to me and asking me questions and asking me questions and asking me questions. She said, there is a little girl, a 5-year-old girl crying out loud for love, for validation, for nourishment. I'm going to ask and, give you homework. So, okay. What's the homework? Because I know what she's telling me is true. She said, nurture that little girl through your kids. Love her through your kids. Wow. Give her all the hugs and kisses that you needed as a child. Give them that, and your soul will heal because of that. Yeah. That's what I've been doing. Yeah. I got all the kisses and hugs and, cuddling. And there is no day that I don't cuddle with my younger two in the morning. They come, they run for it. Yeah. And they crave as much as I do. But I did start with my older two when they were young. And it's something beautiful. It's bonding. You bond with them. You build a healthy relationship with them. We talk and tell each other stories. And I got all the love, validation, affection, all you name it, I got it from them. And they're my life.
Mashallah, that's amazing. So just to transition back to your books, what are some things we can look forward to learning about in your books?
Mashallah, thank you, Habibti, about the books. Books will be writing, I'm almost done with my memoir, but I'm waiting until I'm 50 next year. Inshallah.
No way. You do not look like it at all. And also you do not, it's always funny. I got this comment one time, but you do not look like what you went through.
I went through a lot. Trust me.
I know you did. And mashallah, you just glow and radiate inner beauty.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mashallah.
Thank you so much. Next year, summertime, I will be 50. And that's where I'm planning to publish my memoir. Yeah. But this year I want to publish my women empowerment book. It's all about women, talking about so many different topics, and I have different chapters of how to, self-love, how to do a goal setting. Talks about finances. It talks about domestic abuse and how to get out of it. It talks so many, it's resources, it's guidance, and it has, and questions, about how you feel about certain things. So it's a guidebook. It's a guidebook that any woman, it doesn't matter if it's Somali women, American women, white women, Christian women, Muslim women, as long as you're women anywhere in the world, you can benefit from that book. I put my heart to it. I talk about my story, and I give the readers guidance and resources through it.
I love it. And one thing I really love about the book is when people think about abuse, they only think about physical. But you really break down all the different type of abuses. Mental abuse comes in second place, but no one talks about financial abuse.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge thing. Emotional abuse, that's different than mental abuse.
Yep.
And I love how you're able to guide them in your book and break it down and how we can point out the different type of abuses that there are.
Yep. Emotional, physical, mental health, verbal abuse.
Verbal abuse. Yeah.
And lagu dhahayo waa kula kaftame. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's something that we need. And I know in our community, divorce is a big thing and people talk about it a lot and they think that people are giving up too easily. Divorces are happening left and right. But I think we should talk about how it's okay for women and men to leave if they're in an unhealthy relationship and marriage.
True.
What do you think about the divorce statistics today?
Wallahi, when I look at it, and people get divorced easily for small things, and there's no help for it in our community. Waxaa loo baahan yahay. I do not agree getting divorced easily. It's not healthy for the child. People don't think about the kids. You know, if it's not working for me, I'm not getting what I need, I'm leaving. And mostly men leave the marriage and divorce our women. But waxay iloobayaan wax la dhaho dhalinyarta hadda markay domestic violence ku yimaadaa waxa weeyaan markay gabadhu arooskiyo wiilkii gabadhu isguursadaan ay gabadhu uur yeelato, she struggles, emotional, hormones get up and down. Wiilku ma yaqaan how to handle it. They don't know how to handle that. And then markay dhasho, there is something called dadkeenu aqoonin oo hadda ay soo baxbaxaysaa on marna video ka duubay and postpartum depression.
Oh yeah.
Postpartum depression ayaa gabdhaha badanka lagu furaa cudur aan la aqoonin waaye bad ninku wuxuu moodayaa gabadhu inay isbedeshay. Patients baan jirin meesha, samir baan jirin meesha, isfahan baan jirin meesha, counseling ma haysano, medical counseling, marriage counseling. Marriage counseling ma haysano, pre-marital counseling na ma haysano, labadaas ma haysano. Wiilkii gabadhu markay isguursanayaan haddii counseling loo sameeyo la dhaho muhiimadda guurku leeyahay, xilkaaga mataqaanaa wiilyahow, mas-uulka ku saaran ma ogtahay gabar yahay, sababtaad u guursanaysaase waa maxay? Waan ku arkay, waan kaa helay, iyo waan ku arkay, waan ku jeclaaday, layskuma guursado. Guurku waa xaweyaan very important, waa foundation of life, waa part of our deen in la guursado. Ma fahanti? Waa laysku baahan yahay, wiilal iyo gabdho way isku baahan yihiin. I strongly encourage in la guursado, yaraana lagu guursado. But intaan la guursan waa inaan la sameeyo counseling. And la ogaado, you're getting into this marriage, what are you bring yourself or getting into yourself inaad ogaateed, gabadhuna ogaato, wiilka xilka saaran la baro, gabadha xilka saaranna la baro. That's number one, intaan la guursaninba.
That's a very good point. I've never thought about getting counseling before intaan la guursanin. I think that would make a huge difference.
It's extremely important, and I advocate for that. Aniga wiilkayga gabadhayda, he's 21. Waxaan dhahaa, you have to learn what it means to be a man. You have to learn what it means to be a man. Surwaal iyo shaati wax xidhanta doesn't make you a man. Trust me. Nin baanahay because shari surwaal baa xidhanahay. No, you have to know what it means to be a man. And a man that is responsible, that is provider, a protector, event that loves women, his mother, his wife, his sisters, his daughters. You have to be a man that can protect women.
Absolutely. And it starts in the foundation of the house. And I think, especially with your son, he's so lucky to have a mother like you who can instill and show example of how to treat a woman, treat sisters, treat coworkers, all of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's important. Another thing that we've talked about is how to empower women. And one thing that you do to empower women is you encourage them to become their own boss. And you lead by example. And one of the things that you started is Hayat Properties.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that and what that means to you.
Hayat Properties is so funny how it started. I was working for a realtor on office management, interpreting, because he's not Somali. He encouraged me and asked me to get a license to become a realtor, and because he has so many clients that he cannot deal by himself. And I said, okay, so I got my license. When my son saw my first commission, he's like, this is kind of job I want to do, And I said, okay, and let me know when you're ready. And he was ready by then, right there. So he became a realtor. Then my daughter said, I want to become a realtor. And then I started thinking, if both of my older kids want to be realtors, I'm going to create a company for all of us as a business family and family business. That's how I started Hayat Properties. So it's a family business. And my older two are realtors with me. We do showings together. We help clients. I'm the face of the business, but I want to leave this legacy to them. This is their business. This is their. We will be working on buying properties where families who cannot afford to buy, we can rent them to our homes.
Yeah, that's amazing, mashallah. And her kids, you guys, are so good at their jobs, so young, but they are so mature. And I think with them being under your wing and being realtors, they now learned how to occupy and run a business. And also, I know your daughter started her side business as well, which is beautiful. I went and checked it out. The name, was it her name?
Hibo's Boutique Shop.
Boutique Shop, which is located in St. Paul. I'll share the information on there. And I just love seeing young entrepreneurs and how you instill that in them. Because when you work for yourself, it saves you from a lot of distress, and it saves you from a lot of, work abuse and time and scheduling. And not only are you more available for your kids and you get to see them all the time, spend quality time, but they get to be with you. And that's super important.
And also the younger two watch us.
Yeah.
They come to work with us.
They do. I saw they have their own little office space, you guys, the two young ones in their area where they chill after school and get to see, their family doing all this amazing work.
Yeah. There's my kids' school. I have an amazing relationship with them. So they drive them to us.
Wow.
3:30. They're there doing their homework and all of that. And now that is summertime in the morning, my son looks forward to going to the office and greeting clients and, learning the business. He's only 9. So what is that installing him the idea of becoming a business owner, and he's in my advertisement flyers. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yeah, I did see him. Yes, I did.
Where Hanan and Harun are
yes, they're so cute. If you don't follow her on Facebook, please do. Fatoun Ali. Her kids are amazing. Like they had a
Yeah.
fun time at that photo shoot.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
With the attitude
Yeah.
they have.
Yeah. They were having the time of their life.
They're my sunshine. They're just always making me laugh.
Yeah.
And questioning a
Yeah.
lot. They're so smart.
Yeah, kids are smart.
Yeah, especially my younger two, not my older two, never question a lot.
Yeah.
They were just kids. But my younger two, they're just way too smart for me. They're way too smart for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I will add Hayat Properties information. So please reach out and contact if you have any questions. You're here to support with that. Because I know what's the most common question that you get, as a real estate agent?
As a real estate, we don't only sell homes in our company, we educate families about the process, about credit scores, down payment assistance, home stretch, what it means to become a homeowner. What are the qualifications? What do you need to have what kind of income do you need? All of those things. So we guide them. We give them workshop, individual one-on-one counseling to understand the importance of home ownership and if they qualify. And if they don't, based on their income or their credit, we guide them about how to qualify. What do you need? Credit score, minimum, the minimum payment they can put down, and all of that. So it's all education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very important. And that's the concept that most immigrant communities are missing, is the factor of education.
True.
And whether they do decide to buy or not, they will always walk away with something when they get that proper education.
That's true.
And we do need more people in our community because of the language barrier. So we have people who can speak Somali or Spanish or Hmong or Arabic. Like, that makes a difference. And that's one of the things that I love about Minnesota, is that we have so much resources and people who look like us, sound like us, who can provide that information in a way we can understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's beautiful. And with Hayat Properties, you also genuinely started a nonprofit.
The nonprofit was before Hayat Properties.
Okay.
So I started when I came to Minnesota, first few years, 2009. That's when I started Hayat Property, and the nonprofit organization, 2009, and I've been running it since then. And I'm a mentor, so I mentor young women and mothers, empower mothers, and also boys in the last couple of years, and also fathers. We started this year, and when I came to Minnesota, it was hard for me to find an organization that was catered to my needs. Yeah. So I started, it's like, I'm going to start a nonprofit, because what I did in San Diego was working with immigrants. I was a resettlement caseworker in San Diego. And during the time that Somali Bantus came, and because I spoke the language, it was really important for them to see somebody that they speak their language. So I helped them finding resources, housing, jobs, school, you name it, So when I came here, I didn't get the help I needed from our own communities, which mostly were run by men. I decided to create one for women and work with families of all, men and boys, mothers and girls. So SOMFAM, the nonprofit Somali Youth and Family Development Center, is 15 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's very staple, and I love how you work with both women and men. You mentioned also connecting with fathers. Has it been easy to meet fathers who are willing to be more involved and step in when it comes to encouraging their sons, their daughters?
Yeah, it's a great question. When I was in San Diego, and because I told you when I got married to my older kid's father, nobody knew what kind of disease he had. So right away, I got married to someone I didn't know, but it was a family, making sure like this guy is for you. This is it. And somehow I didn't want to get married to him. There was something about him that didn't stick with me. I wasn't okay with. Yeah. But by pressure, I said, okay. I said, okay, fine. They know better than me, maybe. I was young. I was dhalinyar baan ahaa mogtahay. Yeah. I said, okay, fine. Midda kale, nin wuxuu ahaa aad u qurux badan. Extremely handsome guy, and well educated. So waxaa dhahay gabar kasta, there is every woman's dream. Why? Beautiful smile, beautiful eyes, and hazel eyes lahaa, hazelnut eyes, and ilka qurux badan. He was very handsome guy. Markaas la dhahay well educated uu ahaa. Markaas markaan la guuriyey because of his illness, which nobody knew about it, and I became homeless. So when I had my first child, I was homeless. Went. Yeah. And then I got pregnant again, and while I was homeless, I got pregnant, and still I was homeless until I had my daughter, second child, with him. And through that 2 years, I didn't understand what's wrong with this guy, I'm his wife, I'm having his baby, I'm homeless, he's not doing anything, he's not stepping up. And I decided to step up, and I decided I will never have another child with him. I'm going to raise those kids, and I'm going to let him raise them with me. And then four Somali guys stepped up to help me. That's when my relationship with men started. I can never forget them. One of them is in here in Minnesota. And those guys hire me to cook for them in their restaurant, new restaurant. And in that restaurant I was working, and they were watching me struggle. And they just despised him because they didn't also know he was sick. How can you know somebody dressed well, looks very sharp, well educated, laughing, talking, but he's mentally not himself. Because the way buu qaadanayo dadka ka qarinayo moqta. But the drive ma jirin. There was no drive. Raganimadii iyo gabadh uu guursaday, masuulkeedii aaway ma ku jirin. Ma bad. Marka ana go'aan ku gaadhay inaan ilmo dambe u dhalin markaan labada carruur dhalay, dhexdaan xidhay, birth control yar badan isku soo muday. Then waxaan isdhahay labadana korso, isagana iska dhex joogo because abalaan baan anigu koray mogtay. Markaas wiilashaasi nolosheeda soo galay at that time ayaa waxay siiyeen safe environment to communicate and talk to men. Because of them, I was able to open up. Way soo dhaweysteen. They helped me. Waxay dhahaan garabkaagan taaganahay. Do what you have to do. Dhexda xiro. Shaqayso. Ma fahant? Ninkan waan u jeednaa nin ma arkino baabacsan inuu yahay. Laakiin ha u bixin. I decided inaan isagana la joogo, dhexdana xidho, shaqaystana, ilmahaygana uu iskala dhex noolaado. Bad waxaan loo baahnayn ayuu sii galay. Marka Minnesota marka ay midina waxaan ka dhigtay safe environment. Wiilal asxaaban ka dhigtay oo soo dhaweeyay oo magaalada ila degan oo maxay ahaydeen walaal iga dhigtay. Marka wiilasha badnaa oo 10, 15, 20 guys walaala iga dhigtay, and made me comfortable inaan wiilasha la sheekaysto, la kaftamo, walaashooda iga dhigtaan. Sidaasaan weli alaanka I have so many guy friends oo communityga wiilal dhalinyaro oo nima shaqaysta iyo wadaado iyo you name it mataqaanaa aan isku fahanaa programka aabayaashana ay iga caawiyaan sababtoo ah guri wuxuu u baahan yahay aabba iyo hooyo aabba iyo hooyo ayuu guri u baahan yahay both willing to learn from each other because dagaal baan ku jirnaa ragguna dagaalay ku jiraan dumarkuna dagaal bay ku jiraan bad ciday la dagaalamayaan ma yaqaanaan iyaga nafsadoodii ayay destroy garaynayaan baabiinayaan ilmaha ay dhexdooda ka dhashayna ma la fiirinayo mana loo danaynayo ma fahanti so markaan Somali Youth and Family Development Center aad u fiirsatid waxa weeyaan family strengthening inay familiga hoos u dhisto foundationka familiga inaan dhisno inaan ninka xilkiisa iyo mas-uulkiisa la baro that's my goal inaan barno wiilasha Soomaalida xilka iyo mas-uulka saaran waxyaalaha anigu aan la soo kulmay ama se aan la soo arkay hooyooyin badan sameeyaan hooyooyinkana khaladka badanka ma saaraya waa waxa la soo baray iyaga laftigooga wiilashana badankooga khaladka ma saarayo because iyaga waa sidii loo soo tabaray laakiin Yusra how can you expect weligii allihii loo keeragaraynayay oo sare loo dhaqaayay loo goglaayay oo dhar loo dhaqaayay oo qaarkood falaxalka biyaha loo keenayo oo adeeg loo sameynayo inuu mas-uul qaado wuxuu rabaa sidii hooyadii iyo walaalihii ay cuntada ugu karinayeen sariirta ugu goglaayeen dharka ugu dhaqaayeen falaxalka loogu keenayay waa wiila waxba hayaan loo dirsan loo dhaxayay ayuu gabadh Soomaalida ku guursanaya and then gabadha Soomaalida the same thing ka sugaya problem waxa keenaya gabadha Soomaali joogta iyo gabadha Mareykan joogta isku mid maaha ama Europe ama meel joogta adduunka ay ka joogaan marka waa in la baro wiilasheena to step up sida loo soo korinayo inaan wax ka bedelno aan waxaan dhahay has to start with me wiilkayga maalinta 5 jir ahaba waxaan ku bilaabay hooyo vacuumka noo samee sariirtaada goglo dharkaaga dhaqo dharkaaga laalaabo waan toobaray waxaan dhahay naftani goore baxaysa Allah yaclam ma ogin hadday tayda noqoto I want him to take care of himself and be not depend on anybody even haddaan tayda noqon lahayd oo dhiman lahaa waxaan dhahay iyagoo yaryar hooy sariirtaada goglo dharkaaga dhaqo cuntadaada karso he's the chef of the house hadda
mashallah
I love the food uu sameeyo ma fahanti maxay ahaydeen vacuumka mari qashinka qaad musqusha nadiifi the take turns ma fahanti hawsha guriga hadda la isla qabto hawsha banaanka waa la isla qaban karaa ilmo waa la wada korsan karaa ma fahanti laakiin waa inaan systemkeena wax ka bedelno gabdhahana aan barno their worth educate them the value ogayna bartaan waa muhiim waay ma fahantay laakiin haddaan isku fiirino maxay ahaydeen waxyaalo badan oon loo baahnayn it destroys the family
it does
yeah ninku wuxuu ku leeyahay aawe isagoo soo shiira shaqaynaya shaqadu ka imanaya Starbucks soo maraya xakaasuu xogoo soo fadhiya uu imanaya cunto kulbu rabaa ma fahantay hooyadiina iyadoo English aqoonin hadday xitaa shaqo bilowdo oo Amazon iyo meelo kale ka soo shaqeyso iyadoo daalan bay imanaysaa iyadoo daalan ba waxa laga rabaa in ilmihii iskuulka geyso ay ilmaha ka soo kaxayso guriga timaado cunto kariso dhar dhaqdo isagii raali geliso haddana cunto kulbu raba inuu yimaado xagee la joogaa maxaa khaldan maxaase uga hadlaanahay
and that's how majority of families are. Sasi usokoren. And it's unfortunate, but it starts, like you said, with ourselves to change it, you know. It's not easy. But you mentioned a lot, and I think the silver lining, it's beautiful throughout your journey and how you had a negative experience with a man and all the hardship, that it was also men who stepped up and helped you kind of find yourself and move on. And that connects it back to how men and women need each other.
Oh yeah. We do.
And how it's very possible to have a healthy relationship with your partner, your husband, your sons, your brothers. But it starts with valuing yourself and knowing your worth. And I think that's beautiful. Have you ever had or come, because I know you mentor a lot of people and people come to you for advice. And have you ever had it being vice versa, where a young man was struggling, you know, with maybe abuse?
Oh yeah. You know, not only that, and not only abuse. And dumar badan oo ragooga verbally abuse gareeya. On xishoonin. Waa arkay. It makes me really sad marka grown up man lagu qaylinayo.
Yeah.
In front of Mark, you know, dad aynan aqoonin. Anigoo maanta qalbigii ijaban yahay bal fiiri. Ma u hadli karo, isagana ma hadli karo. Horteeda lagu qaylinaya laga aamus waxaad ka hadlaysid ma garanaysid. Belittling him. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Dumarkeen waxay u baahan yihiin education. Midda kale, Hawa iyo Aadan keligii baa lagu soo tuuray adduunka. He couldn't survive. Then Ilaahay Hawa u soo dikaanay. Oo feedhisa laga abuuray. Way isku baahnaayeen. Taasan ilowsanahay in la isku baahan yahay. Taasna waxa u sababa inay dumarka qaarkood actionna aan loo baahnayn ay ku dhaqaaqaan. Waa tababarka ragga xumaaday. Marka wiilasheena hadda tababarkooga la saxo. Hooyooyinkana la tuso and what it means to raise a healthy boy. Not only boy maaha, wiil kaliya maaha. Wiil kali korigii maaha inaad kurisid. Waa inaad tababartaa. Education starts from home. Gurigu ka asaasmaa. Ina ilmaha la baro idaabta. Ani ciyaalkaygu wallahi wax kasta soo sameeyaan way ii yimaadaan way ii sheegaan. I'm sorry hooyo but waxaana dhacay. The communication is the foundation of the house. Ina wax kasta ka wada hadli kartiin. Ninku markuu naagtiyo xamila intuu ka tago naag kala guursanayo. Gurigaas ma hagaagaya. Gabadhiyo baahan markuu ka tago uu gabdho kale iska aado ama adduunyo kale intuu aado soo guursado ma hagaagaya. Marka taas ma rabo inaan ku sii fogaado marka la ka hadli doona. Laakiin waa inaan la saxo. Inaan mataqaanaa la isku baahan yahay. Meel loo socdo ma laha. Haddaad 80 jir tahay iyo haddaad 20 jir tahay wiil iyo gabadh waa isku baahan yihiin. Because adduunku wuxuu ku nool yahay naxariis. Naxariis in la barto. Xaqaaga waa inaan barto. Anigana aan xaqayga ogsoonahay. Ma fahanti? Ninka Islaamka ee Muslimka ah. Diinta markaan baranayay. Ani Soomaaliya wax kuma soo baranay. Laakiin Mareykanka markaan diinta Islaamka baranayay. waxyaalo badan oo khaldan oo community-geenu sameeyaan ayaa oo diinta ku dhex qariyaan baa jirta. Diinta saatire. Diinta beena ka sheegin. Ilaahayna beena ka sheegin. Nabigeena Maxamed ahna beena ka sheegin. Gabdhaheenu waa loo sheegaa wax. Laakiin they don't do their own search. Marka wax lagu dhaho waxaan dhahaa show me where the Quran aayade suurade halkee kaga taala. You know? You have to educate yourself. Marka tahay educated women. Ninku handidi kara malaha. So my goal is to educate as many women as I can and teach her value, her worth. And she has to know wax la dhaho self-awareness. If you're not aware of who you are you going to question? Because foundation is self-love. Kalmada self-love, it was so weird to me, wallahi. So weird. It was like a foreign language. You know, self-care was the same thing. I never cared for myself. All I knew was how to take care of family and kids and husband and all of that. And the community. But self-care was just markan ogaada qiimaha leedahay. That's when you can take care of, when you take care of you can take care of others. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I feel like we can talk for hours and hours. MashaAllah. So I think I'm going to pause before I ask you the last questions. I just want to again thank you for sharing your story. It's not easy.
It is not, trust me.
It's not easy. We all have a story, and you inspire me.
Thank you.
I really look up to you. You know, I used to be married. I'm not married anymore. I'm divorced. But I've always just kept everything bottled to myself for years. And hearing you talk about, you know, your story makes me want to write, makes me want to talk about it, makes me want to help others, you know? So if you're making me feel like that, I'm sure there'll be hundreds and hundreds of both women and men who could really benefit from this episode. So with that being said as well, if
I want to add one thing to that.
Yes, go ahead.
For closing.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Yeah. And when you're in a dark space and you don't know who to trust, even sometimes your own family could be your worst enemies. Yeah. When you know you're in a dark place, do yourself a favor and talk to yourself. I do self waxaa la dhahaa one of the boogii ku jirtaa talking to women gabdhaheena la hadlaayo and journaling your soul, talking to your soul. Yeah. You have to journal to your soul, ask questions to your soul, comfort your soul. You know, ask your soul, how can I help you? To like qof kale ina la hadlay sidoo kale, you're talking to someone else. Ma fahantay marka habeenkii marka gurigaaga joogtid, you're in bed and you're alone and you're feeling vulnerable, that is the right time to center and ground yourself and comfort yourself. Take a hot bath, qaado your favorite drink up, and then you journal to yourself. That was one of my favorite things. You know, journal to yourself. How can I help you? How can I love you today? How can I support you?
I love that.
How can I support you today? What will make you feel better that I can say or I can do? So journaling helped me a lot.
Yeah. I think journaling is a huge tool. I used to journal a lot. I feel like it was a lot easier to express my feelings in high school, and as a kid, I was just always writing. But as an adult, it's a lot harder to sit with myself. Because it's easy to blame ourselves, and it's easy, there's so many voices in my head, you know? But I think it's important to, instead of just writing, to like ask those questions, and then you can help answer for yourself. And I think that's beautiful. So I would love to definitely, inshallah, invite you back, and I'm sure our viewers would like to hear more. So if you are interested in hearing more about home ownership, empowerment, you know, starting a nonprofit, how you can make an impact to the community, how you can overcome struggles, therapy, counseling, all of that, let me know, and we can go more into details one by one, inshallah. Like I was telling Fatoun, I was like, we need a series. I was like, I just need a series just for you, like interviews. But the last question I want to ask is, you know, what piece of advice do you leave with us today for anyone struggling with anything going on in their life?
Wallahi, that's very important question, because sometimes when you're going through so much and in a chaos, you can't even think for yourself. And that's when you need help the most. Somebody who can help you and guide you, you know, and find the right resources for you. And that was people that did not look like me for me. I had Gabda Adana and Gabda Chahnabiya and friends and Laha, magaalada igu soo dhaweeyay Minneapolis. So when I was struggling. You're in a dark place. You can't think for yourself. It takes time. Be patient with yourself. Then slowly walk. Just walk. Go for a walk. sit in your car, take a pass. We don't. Waxa ogaaday gabdhaheena Soomaalida waa soconaa.
Yeah.
waa soconaa ilmaha ka daba cararayna, shaqan ka daba cararayna, odaygan ka daba cararayna, kanan ka daba cararayna, familiga, adeerka, edada, habarta, family issue, problems, community. Pass. Waxaasoo dhan yara dhig. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours. One of the things that really helped me and saved me waxa weeyaan marka problem weyn igu soo kordho 2-3 days ayaan family member and soo noqonaya hotel aan karaysan jiray just by myself. Hotel intaan karaysto not far away from here, just 1 hour, the most 1 hour intaan drive gareeyo oon hotel karaysto, laptopkayga qaato, qalimadeedii buugaagteeda qaato, waxaan samayn jiray self-reflection, self-evaluation and goal setting. saddexdaasaan samayn jiray. And my favorite cabitaan coffee biyo iyo coffee labaasaan cabaa. Coffeegayga qaataa Starbucks dheer baan qaataa, meelaan fadhiistaa laptopkayga, waxaan aadaa Target ama meelo kale, waxaan soo urursadaa magasiino. Goal setting 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever you are desiring, and the sky is the limit. Whatever goal you want to set, or whether it's a business or personal or family, you do goal setting. So taking self-care is very important and reevaluating. So any woman, any man that is struggling and are in a dark place, I would advise them to take time to themselves and reevaluate their situation and ask yourself, adduunka yaa ku keenay? Ilaah ku keenay. Adduunka yaa kaa qaadaa? Ilaah kaa qaadaya. Maanta haddaad dhimatid, yaa wax ku noqon? You have to ask yourself, yaa wax ku noqonaya? Who are the people that will be affected by your death for the rest of their lives? Those are your kids. Haddaad naa ka dhimatid, nin bay heli. Hadduu nin kaa dhinto, nin baad heli. Familiga iyo ehelka iyo tolka iyo dariska way kaa nixid iyo geeridaada, laakiin you're the one losing your life. So intaad waalan lahayd, do self-care. Love yourself and do also caafimaadka maaha only maskaxda, the body kama shaqayno. Hadday noqoto exercise, hadday noqoto eating right, that's one of the other books aan qorayo. Eating healthy, exercising, drinking water, taking vitamins, ma fahanti, reading, maskaxdaada dhis, ma fahanti. Marka self-care is number 1. Do yourself a favor and do self-care. Yeah.
That's really good advice, and I will be taking note of that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming again. This was such an informative episode, and again, like I said, you are just such an admirable person, and inshallah I would love to have you back someday. But please stay on the lookout, follow her social medias, which I will link onto the page, and definitely purchase her books. Her first book will be out shortly, right? In the fall.
Inshallah.
So please stay tuned for that, and we will hear more from you. Thank you for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.